How do you demonstrate excellence in your relationships? Now, the reason I made this video topic is because I feel like relationships, whether it's your partner, whether it's your friends, whether it's business relationships, can unlock so much for you. And I feel like I have an authority to be able to talk on this topic because number one, I've been in a relationship for 8 years with my partner. Number two, I was able to secure a business mentor that was much further along than I was in the journey. And I feel like that's pretty rare to do. And also, I've had long-term friends where I've been able to cultivate relationships where I feel like they're very valuable and we care about each other. So, with that being said, I promise you by the end of this video, you'll understand how to demonstrate excellence within your relationships so that you can start getting the benefits of excellence in your relationships. With that being said, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Chris Richardson. I'm a coach here at Life on Your Terms. And I make these videos to hopefully share and pass on the knowledge that I have. Now, with that being said, the first piece to demonstrate excellence within your relationship is active listening and communication. Now, what I mean by this piece is I think a lot of people are like, well, I want to show the person I care. I want to understand how can I show someone I care? And my answer to that is to actually care. Now, how do you actually care about people? Before I get into that, I think that my ability to actually care about every single person and care about their story has been a huge lever for me to create and cultivate relationships and then show excellence within those relationships and have the people that I interact with feel really good to interact with me. And the way to actually care is when you are listening to someone, try to find something interesting about their story. I try to think of it as that I'm learning from this person. They have experiences that are completely unique to mine. And by having them talk about their story, what can I learn from them? Because I truly believe that everybody out there, I can learn something from. Even people who are really struggling, who are not making good decisions, I can understand that I shouldn't make those decisions, but I would still talk to those people and try to have them share their stories so I can understand them. And that applies to all relationships. I truly believe I have something to learn from them. So one way to demonstrate excellence with active listening is communication is to actually care. And the way you actually care is to find what they are saying interesting and to learn from them. Now, the piece with active listening is that it's easy to get distracted in conversation. There's a lot of things going on, but if you're able to look someone in the eyes, make that direct eye contact, give them active encouragers that you're listening, like nodding your head, saying yes, and actually paying attention to what they are saying. Ask questions back, probe them about, oh, tell me more about that story. People love if they say something like, oh, you'll never believe what happened last night. And then you say, tell me about it. And you're really excited, just as excited as they are. They'll be so happy to share that with you. And that's one way you can show excellence with active listening. And on top of that, I think another way to demonstrate excellence in relationships in terms of active listening and communication is clear and direct communication. If you have someone that is already in your circle, I don't think you're being excellent if you're not being direct and being clear with your communication and having that communication timely. What I mean, if you feel like someone in your circle is about to run into a wall with whatever problem, whatever it is, I would encourage you to challenge them in a healthy way. Ask them questions, stuff like that. Be clear and be direct. Hey man, this is what I see from my perspective. I'm just asking for the sake of you. And I'm truly just trying to dig in for you. Most people will appreciate that. And that's how I think you demonstrate excellence with active listening and communication. The second piece to demonstrating excellence in relationships is constant support and reliability. If you can have a friend, if you can have a partner, and they support you, you know how it feels to have someone in your corner. Because if you're taking on something like entrepreneurship, like I am, or maybe you're making a change within your life, it could feel like it's just you clapping. You're the only one in the audience clapping for yourself. But to have that other person in the audience clapping for you as well and being a fan can have a huge impact on how you feel on what you're about to take on. So what you can take from that is, if you have a friend, or even if you have someone like a boss or a manager, or you're starting your own business and you have employees, if you can identify that someone is taking on a new challenge in their life, and if you can be one of their biggest fans on the endeavor they are about to take, they will never forget it. I promise you. There are people in my life who like all the videos I post, comment on my Instagram, stuff like that, and it means the world to me. And I will never forget the people that do that over and over and over again. And it really feels like I have a great relationship. They're really supporting me. So translating that and how you could be excellent is, again, how can you support someone else in their journey and be their biggest fan? Another piece of this is doing the first piece of active listening communication, and then constant support and reliability even when you don't want to. That's a huge piece of excellence in general, is doing something when you still don't want to. So maybe you don't want to listen. You've had a long day, you just come home and your partner's going to tell you about something, but you don't want to listen. I would still encourage you to listen, because that's what excellent people do. Another piece is, maybe your friend's starting something else and you know it's too much work to go help them with it or support them. I would encourage you to do it, because that's what excellent people do. Now, the reliability piece is that with your relationships, if you make a commitment, if you tell someone in your circle, friend, partner, in my case, maybe my mentor, if I tell them I am going to do this by this date, I have to execute upon it. And if I don't, I'm not being excellent within my relationship. So I'd encourage you to stick to the commitments you make within your relationships. And that's a huge piece of excellence, because almost no one does it. If you could say, I will have this done for you by this time on this day, and then you get it done by this time on that day, that can unlock a lot of doors for you. And if it's just with friendships, it can make people feel really good and realize that you are a reliable person. So that's another way to demonstrate excellence, is that constant support and that reliability. Now, the third and final piece to demonstrating excellence within a relationship is respect and appreciation. If someone sets a boundary, or if someone asks you to do something and you commit to it, kind of relates to the last point. Respect what you said you would do and respect the boundary. People often try to walk all over each other, and if you just respect people's boundaries, people tend to feel really good about that. If you can also appreciate what someone is doing, if you call it out, give them a compliment. One rule you can start to implement in your head is that if you have any urge or any idea of being generous or showing that gratitude, do it. Whether it's getting someone something small, whether it's being thoughtful and getting them their favorite candy or whatever it is, or it's a compliment. It can be as simple as a compliment, and a compliment can make people's day. I was at work, my day job the other day. There's a new guy working there, and I just simply said, "Hey, dude, where do you lift at?" Because he was well built and stuff like that. I like to talk about that stuff. He's like, "Oh man, you could tell I lift? Like, that made my day, man." And I knew by kind of saying that I was giving him a compliment, because I was like, dude, you look built, so obviously you lift. And that made him feel really good. And that wasn't necessarily my intention to give a compliment, but it worked out that way. And so if you can give compliments and show that gratitude right when you think about it, that can be really helpful in being excellent in your relationships. Now, also, with respect and appreciation, is doing all of these things even when you don't want to, even when you don't want to give that compliment, or it may be uncomfortable. I would still encourage you to do it, because it can mean the world to the person you're giving the compliment to. And then the final piece that I think relates to all of these things is to consistently ask yourself, how can you be a better friend? How can you be a better partner? How can you be a better leader, boss, employee, whatever it is? And how can you be better in all of those areas? And one way that's often overlooked is, how can you be better to yourself? How can you have an excellent relationship with yourself? Because if you can develop that, you can develop it with all the other people as well. So if you like that video, I'd encourage you to take the balance wheel in the description below, because that can help you look at, how do I be excellent in my professional life, in the relationships related to that? How can I be excellent in my relationships? How can I be excellent with my relationship with myself? And looking at all those things that can help you move forward. If you like the video, like and subscribe. It really helps the channel.